Okay, in this tutorial we're going to be backing up our site in 3 different ways. Before we do that, I wanted to give you a heads up that if you do the SiteGround hosting in my tutorial, that no matter which package you have, you get 30 daily backups for free and a one-click restore for $20. So if worse comes to worse, you'll probably be able to back up from the SiteGround backup. If you have other packages, you can restore for free. But to look into the SiteGround hosting, you can check out the link at the bottom in the video description. So anyway, let's go back to plugins. Let's add new from plugins. Let's type in Updraft Plus, no spaces. And here we have this 1 million installations, 5 stars, updated 3 weeks ago, so it's really recently updated. Install now and activate. Okay, you can get to the Updraft settings from plugins, settings. You can get to them from the settings tab over here, right there, or you can get to them from up top here. I'm just going to click settings. And the first tab is backup restore. This tells you your schedule, and here's the button to back up now. If you go down a little bit further, it says 0 backups. So we don't have any yet. So let's create a backup on the server, on the SiteGround server where your website is hosted. So before I do that, I'm going to go to the settings tab. It's currently set to manual backups, and it's going to store only one manual backup. So if I put another one on there, the old one will get kicked off. And they don't really recommend that you do a backup on your server, because if the server crashes, you're going to have a hard time getting your backup. But let's just make one backup. And also it'll take up space on your server if you have a really large site. But anyway, I'm going to put one on the server now. Go to the backup and click backup now. Here I have to uncheck this remote storage because I used to have it checked. So we're going to be doing Google Drive storage after this. And so we're going to include that, and we're going to back up now. Now, like I said, depending on the size of your site, it could even slow down your server. So I have a small business site going. It's a demo site. I'm not too worried about it slowing down my site or taking up too much space, so it's already done. So now when we scroll down a little bit, here we have existing backups, and here we have all of the different sections of the site. There are 5 files that it will create because I checked all of those boxes. So anytime you need to get a hold of this backup, it'll be here under Backup Restore. The next thing I want to do is I want to put this backup on my local computer because I don't want to store it on my server and then have the server crash. So I'm going to click Database, and then it says Download to your computer. You click that, and it'll go right into whatever your browser puts them in. Mine is set up to the Downloads folder. Next, Plugins. Download to your computer. Got the next one. Once that's done, we're going to go to Themes. We'll download all of these files. Download to your computer. Okay. Next, Uploads. Download to your computer. So now we got 4 of the 5. This one is 50 megabytes. Others. Those are the other files. Download to your computer. Okay, good. Now if you look at your wherever you store your downloads, I'll go to my downloads. Right here. Here we have the 5. Database, Others, Plugins, Themes, Uploads. Go ahead, create a folder, call it backup. And you can actually put this on an external hard drive. You can put it on a USB drive. You could put your backup, so it's not on your main computer, but you could also store it on external storage device. So now we have two ways. We have it on the server and we have it on our separate computer. The third way is probably the best way to go, and that is if you go to settings. And for this one, my small business site, I might do a blog post a week. We're going to do a weekly backup, and we're going to have it save 2 copies, the last 2 copies. And you have all of these options to send your site to. You can do it. Some of them require the premium version, but Google Drive if you have a Gmail, Microsoft OneDrive if you have an Outlook email. Some of these are free. So you click Google Drive and you scroll down a little bit, and it says here, after you have saved your settings, then come back here and authenticate your Google Drive. So I'm going to look at what it's going to back up. It's going to back up plugins, themes, uploads, and other. And so all of the excluded ones are the ones that it already doesn't want to back up, so it kind of knows what it's doing. Database encryption, and then I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom and save changes. Expert settings if you want to change some of those. Save changes. You have selected remote storage. Follow this to authorize your Google account. Okay. Now pick your Google account, and since I am already signed in, I'm going to click allow. Since I'm already signed into my Google account, it's pretty easy. So I just have to click complete setup. And now the plugin is hopefully set up to be able to send a backup to my Google Drive. I have weekly 2 backups, and you'll see right now that the files, the next scheduled backup is set for right now. So it hasn't yet. So I'm going to click backup and we're going to send that over to Google Drive. Sometimes it puts the time a few minutes past when it's scheduled, right when you set it up, but if not, just click backup now. Send to remote storage. Now it's checked. Backup now. Okay, it looks like it finished. Now when you go to existing backups, here's the Google Drive backup and here's your server backup. So now we have these 2 and we have the one on our computer. Now that's 3 backups that we made, and to click on these and to download them, you do the same thing. Like you click the database and you can still download it to your computer. So you can still download these backups to your computer if you need to. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to restore part of our site from the backup. So let's say you update your plugins and something's wrong with your site. It's acting all buggy and it's having problems with the plugins that you updated. So you got to roll back to your previous backup. Well, we can roll back to just the plugins portion. So instead of clicking plugins where you download them, we'll just click restore over here. And we'll just click plugins. Now I'll click restore and it'll say make sure you know what you're doing. Press restore to proceed, because this is going to overwrite your website's plugins. So make sure you know that it's going to be the right version, and then click restore. I haven't done anything to restore my plugins, so it shouldn't be a problem. Or I haven't updated my plugins, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Restore successful, return to the configuration. So that's one way to restore your site. Let's say, heaven forbid, your site completely crashes and you have to install WordPress from a fresh installation, and then you need to put in your site. Make sure you download Updraft Plus, and then you would connect your Google Drive in the settings. Whatever you use to back up, let's say your backups were sitting on Microsoft OneDrive. Well, then you would connect your Microsoft OneDrive to that fresh WordPress installation. Go back here, and you would scan that local folder or actually the remote storage for that backup, and it should show up here. Once it shows up here, you just click restore, check all of the boxes, and you should be able to restore your entire site from these backups. If there's a server backup that you could use on your server, but more than likely you would have to have a backup on a remote server here, like this one on Google Drive. You would just download the plugin and then connect your Google Drive here. And then once you do that, you would rescan your remote storage, and it should show up here to where you could restore the entire thing. Thanks for watching the video on backups. For more tutorials on small business site creation, including how to create a site in 30 minutes using a starter site, check out the program at stepbystepwp.com.